Next guest is a mysterious lizard. They're not especially well observed or studied, but the Greenville Zoo is changing that. Maxene Van Damme is here from the Greenville Zoo to introduce the zoo's Iranian Eyelid gecko. Welcome.
Hi, thank you again for having us.
This is an interesting breed in here. You're getting him out. First, tell us this gecko's story.
So this is Ira, and she is an Iranian eyelid gecko. So it's a species that doesn't have a lot of They're really rare in the wild, and she has a unique story to how she got into a zoo. She was actually an animal that was illegally trafficked and then brought into the zoo community that way. So she came to the Greenville Zoo in 2020 from where she was staying originally at Zoo Atlanta. But she has an amazing story and great adaptations to talk about with kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's always an educational mission, but my first question, most geckos do not have eyelids and cannot close their eyes. This one can. Why?
So most geckos, they don't have eyelids at all. And so you'll see that they'll use their tongues to lick their eyeballs clean, which is pretty cool.
That's handy. Yeah.
But this species specifically is from a semi-arid desert, and nobody likes sand in their eyes. So it helps them to protect their vision.
Wow, so that developed. So what do, they're unique for the eyelids. When they're threatened by a predator, they also pull off an excellent distraction to get away. They drop their tail, they sever it, and then it wiggles?
Yes, so she has a remarkable tail, and it's able to store fat kind of like a camel would. So when she has the ability to find food, she'll eat, and then even after she's full, she'll eat even more, and then she'll store all that extra energy source in that tail. But if she has a real gecko emergency, can drop that tail completely, it'll wiggle just a little bit, and the predators will then go after that easier item, and she'll get away. But it's such an amazing adaptation, she'll grow up to 60% of that tail back to help her survive.
That is fantastic. And I know that these guys remain hidden much of the year. They're active for a brief period during the spring. So what's happening in her world now?
So right now she's really getting into that active zone. Yeah. So she's coming out a lot more out of her hides, and we see those changes in captivity as they age as well. So when they're small, younger, they have a different pattern on them. They actually have more stripes. As they get older, they get this beautiful reticulated pattern, which helps them to camouflage in different sized areas. But we're still learning a lot about them because we don't have a lot of research about this species in the wild. They're from Iran, they're from Turkey, these places that are hard to get to for animal research. So the unique position we're here in is that we can observe them in captivity, learn about those behaviors, and then eventually apply to how we can conserve them.
And they lay eggs, they incubate 2 to 6 months, and when they hatch, the young are immediately independent?
Yes, wouldn't that be nice if humans had that adaptation?
That's rare. Anything else about this species? What makes it so unique?
If you actually want to give her a touch,
please.
You can touch her right there on her back, right there. What'd she feel like to you?
It's a little bit sandpaper-like. I mean, there's a
kind of
roughness,
bumpy, right?
Yeah.
So I like to say that she feels like a basketball.
Yes.
And so one of those other adaptations that we've learned about them is that if they feel threatened, they can secrete a clear liquid out of all those bumps she just touched. How's your finger feel?
So far, so good.
All right, so if she felt threatened by you, she could actually then create that liquid that would make your finger, or if you're a predator, your mouth numb.
Wow.
So if you get numb tongue, you're not going to be
able
then.
Has that happened to you? Have you
never
just
with her, but we have a good relationship. We took it slow.
Yeah, and she wouldn't do that to you. She knows that she's in a safe place.
But it's just another one of those tips or tricks that she has to be able to utilize to survive in such a harsh environment.
Well, very cool that you're in a position to teach people about, it's the conservation that means so much to you. Anything else about just why you're so passionate about being able to share an animal like this with everyone?
Well, I think a lot of it, too, is that we can be fascinated by them, but what's important to actually promote conservation is to have empathy for these animals. And so those experiences where we can take animals out that actually interact with our youth, interact with our above youth area as well, so with our adults as well, creates those connections that are then going to then create an understanding of them. We're all trying to survive. We're all trying to find those needs. This is how they get them. How does that relate to me? How can I then be involved in their lives?
Beautifully said. And people can learn so much from you, from the zoo, all the programs you have. And I got to say, good luck on the giraffe pool. Today could be the day.
We're still waiting to see when Autumn the giraffe will give birth. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. For personal reasons, it's today.
All right.
But we're hoping that she's going to have her wonderful 7th calf with us any day now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for bringing in this animal and for always keeping us updated about what's happening at the zoo and with these creatures. So thank you. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Yes, of course.